Hi, my name is Eric Wall. I'm a communications major who participated in the footsteps of St. Francis and St. Clare. For the next couple minutes, you will hear firsthand accounts reflecting on the pilgrimage from my fellow classmates, reflecting how this pilgrimage both affected them during and after.
Honestly, for me, this was a huge step out of my comfort zone. I signed up for this trip not knowing really anybody on it except for Dr. Cruzy. And from there, it was just trying to make new friends and meet new people. And I kind of just trusted God through the whole thing and made sure it was something that I was meant to do and meant to be there for. And I'm so glad I did. Because when I got through the trip and you immediately, in the next day, you had all these new friends and you knew everybody so personally and so well, and going through this whole journey, you've just been able to see the values that we have at Newman throughout these places, and every sacred site holds them so deeply, but also just the streets and the towns and every restaurant and all the people there. You find all of the values that we have through rises, through our Franciscan values. You see the whole tradition present in all these places. And then you also get to be able to take that understanding and make it deeper for yourself. You get to see how, you can apply them to your own life. And for me, that was so personally significant. And it was just incredible to me that you could walk these sites and see the things and be in the spaces and feel the presence of everything that has been there prior to you. And it's the same places that Claire and Francis had walked or had lived and the way they had lived. And we just had so many incredible people that gave such a deep insight onto this journey and helped to provide more knowledge, deeper understanding. They were always there to answer questions. And for me, that just created a great significance to this pilgrimage. And then through everything, you could also just always turn to a friend. Every time you're walking in the street, you're walking with the group, but then all of a sudden you turn and there's someone new by your side and you get to talk to somebody brand new. And it's just such an incredible experience. You gain brand new perspectives on everything, not even just religious things. You can gain new perspectives on yourself, a new way you like to live. I just saw all of it through this whole journey, and I'm so glad I took this step out of my comfort zone, because now coming back to Newman's campus, it has a deeper meaning, and you see all the statues of Francis, you see the different names of saints and of different things, and you can see the way that Francis and Clare have both influenced Newman University. And I think being able to walk those steps and apply that to the rest of my not only college career but then hopefully my career onward is just something I'm very grateful for. And I think this pilgrimage has provided me the opportunity to share that with others through being involved in Newman activities and just taking this moment to be involved in more present moments in my life. So I'm very grateful for this pilgrimage.
When being on this trip to Rome and Assisi, I was a little nervous at first just because I don't really practice the religion anymore. Not that I don't believe in it or anything, just life has gotten busy and I've gotten older and kind of strayed away from it. But going there and experiencing and walking in the footsteps of St. Francis and St. Clare has really impacted me in ways I didn't really think it would. Overall, I've definitely gained and understand more now than I would have in a classroom. And knowing what I saw and experiencing it overall was honestly something I'll never be able to experience in my life again for the first time. And that factor overall is just a really great feeling that I got to experience this. This trip has deepened my relationship with God and my faith because of everything I saw firsthand and experienced, like going to the churches and going to all the important places that were significant to St. Francis and St. Clare. When I was there, I didn't really feel it, and I think that's because it's all new and it's all so much at once, and it's a lot like hitting you all at once. But once I came home and the excitement and the happiness was not in my everyday life, but thinking about it for a little bit each day definitely made me realize things that I didn't realize before. And that is the biggest thing, and that was my biggest struggle, because while I was there, I didn't have those big moments that I was expecting. But when I was there, I realized it was completely normal to feel that way. And now I know why I felt that way, because those moments came to me afterwards. And I couldn't be more thankful for this trip and everything that had happened and I experienced.
To be honest, before arriving in Italy, I did not know how much I was actually going to gain from this experience, but just walking in all the sacred places and starting to look for the spirit all around me, it really brought this whole experience to life, and I learned more about the faith and even in myself than I ever could have just sitting in a classroom. One of the most amazing feelings I felt on this trip was feeling the spirit of Francis and Clare all around, especially in Assisi. Since Assisi is a small, quiet town, it was very easy to be captivated by the silence and just let everything around you sink in. Each place we visited, including all the frescoes on the walls and the many statues we stumbled upon, tells a very unique story that all ties into the Franciscan way of life. Both Francis and Clare went above and beyond any expectations in order to serve others and bring more peace into their lives. The one story that sticks out to me the most is when we learned about Francis's encounter with the leper, and when everyone was shunning this individual and leaving him with no dignity, Francis opened his arms in an embrace and gave him back a sense of humanity. I think this is a very important lesson to show that we should not judge others just because they are different from us, and we should all show the same kindness that Francis showed that leper. The simple lives that Francis and Clare both lived is another amazing life lesson because they both lived off so little. While today we are so caught up in technology, all of our belongings, or how much we have, Francis and Clare found peace in having almost nothing and giving away anything they did have to charity. Walking along this path has expanded my understanding of faith, service, and community because all around you are able to see what Francis and Clare have done for the city and its people. They both gave up everything they could in order to serve others, and while doing this they had to leave their families behind and even leave the protection of the city walls in a time of war. For me, knowing how afraid they must have been to go against what everyone else was telling them and doing it while putting all their faith in God inspires me to put all my own trust in God. The culture in Rome and Assisi is far different than the culture we have here in America. It is much quieter, and there is a massive amount of appreciation for the city's histories, which is something you can just feel in the atmosphere. For me, especially in Assisi, I really felt the sense of peace all around. During most hours of the day, Assisi is quiet, and it allows you to be able to sit and think about your life and everything going on in your personal life. Rome and Assisi are filled with many basilicas and important structures that are very important in the Franciscan and Catholic history. It is hard not to feel moved and inspired walking through and learning about these areas. Going forward, I hope to take the lessons I learned on this pilgrimage with me everywhere I go and use them to bring joy to the people around me and continue to serve my community and make the world a better place and bring forth the spirit of Francis and Clare into others.
Whenever I think about and reflect on our trip to Italy, the word that I always come back to, that always comes to mind for me, is insightful. This trip was nothing short of that. I gained so much insight into my own life, but not only that, into the lives of others as well, everyone else who was on this trip with me. I personally think the biggest victory from this that I have taken away, and here we are almost 2 months later, and I still, feel that I gained a whole new perspective on myself, and I gained a lot more self-awareness, just being super connected to nature and allowing myself to be in the present moment and be in tune with what I was thinking, what I was feeling. We had plenty of moments that I was able to sit and reflect that I feel like we often miss out on in our day-to-day lives when we're just caught up in things and moving so fast. This trip definitely allowed a lot of time for self-reflection, which I think has positively impacted me more than I anticipated it to. And even, after the trip, I'm still finding more moments throughout my day just to sit and reflect on what I'm thinking or how I'm feeling, and just think about all the experiences I had and what I learned from them. So I would definitely recommend an experience like this to other people. Of course, to be exposed to a new environment, a new culture, things like that, but also to see what you can learn that's new about yourself that you may or may not have known about yourself previously, and continue to grow from that.
The place that I felt the closest to Francis and Clare was probably San Damiano. I mean, talk about like where everything started for Francis and Clare. This place is profoundly like important for not just both of them, but going forward, we're still seeing the Franciscans now today. I mean, we had actual people that live and breathe Francis's teachings. Like today, it's crazy to me. A big cultural difference that I saw in America versus in Italy, particularly in Rome and Assisi, was that it's a lot more crammed, it feels. It feels a lot more tight-knit because of that. Like in America, we have this incredible amount of space to just do whatever we want, wherever we want. But in Italy, particularly in Assisi, it's not like that. We see the same people sometimes. Like, it was very different, like going places and being like, oh, I definitely saw that random citizen earlier today or yesterday or earlier in the week. It was just, it's kind of a culture shock in that regard, even though like in America, we don't see that like ever. I talked a little bit about it during the pilgrimage. Francis had this idea of getting rid of the us versus them kind of concept. And the more you hear about it, the more you're looking into it, getting these firsthand accounts of Francis and Clare's life, you understand more that they just loved people for being people. It's not this, oh, you're different because of this, you're different because of that. It's just, we're all human, we're all God's creation, and that is something that I would love to live my life with for the rest of my life. And I hope that more people, especially the ones that went on this trip, get that same kind of understanding. I mean, we did the leper walk and we talked about it. And to have these actual people be disregarded by the entirety of society, it's heartbreaking. So after hearing the firsthand accounts of this pilgrimage from both myself and my fellow classmates, I'm hoping that whoever's listening to this out there, you decide to go on a pilgrimage. I mean, I think this is such a great opportunity that Newman affords us, and I loved every second of it. I loved the people that I got to hang out with. I loved learning a lot of stuff, and if I could do it again, I would. I definitely would. So God bless each and every one of you, and God bless Newman University for giving me this chance, this opportunity to further my knowledge of St. Francis and St. Clare. Thank you.